Hey there, we're here with Katie Lynn Toll, who is a property management recruiter who started her own business. And yeah, thank you, Katie, for being here with us.
Yes, thank you, John, for having me. It's a pleasure.
Yeah, well, we were talking off air earlier about everything you've been doing, really exciting. So maybe could you kind of recap, since you really started reaching out to clients using the strategies learned from the Recruiting Accelerator program, kind of what you've achieved and all that good stuff?
Yeah, definitely. Happy to. So, and I should mention, I'm technically kind of like a stay-at-home mom. I do watch my girls during the day, and I'm doing this about, 10, 15 hours a week, mainly, at nights and weekends. And it's been my dream really to be a stay-at-home mom and still have a business on my side, bring in the income. And I previously, for about 10 years, have been a corporate recruiter for about 10 years. So about a year ago, I made the switch and went out on my own here. I started the Recruiter Accelerator program. I technically started, all the processes and doing the automation about 2 months ago. That's really when I started doing LinkedIn automation, which has been so helpful for me, such a success, and has really gotten my business going even more. I've been doing that, I've been running multiple campaigns weekly, and just kind of letting that run in the background while I watch my girls. And I will get like notifications, of course, some will decline interest, but I do get every week I get, at least one or two people who want to meet with me for a client call, and have consistently had a new client call every week since. And since then have had two successful placements. So that's all within 2 months. I've gotten those two placements. So I'm very excited.
That's
And
awesome.
keeping this
And
going.
what was the total placement fees that you've earned in these last 2 months of really putting yourself out there?
Yes. So 30K total.
Right. So probably more money than what most corporate recruiters make with less stress.
Yes, exactly. I have honestly like no stress at all. I don't even feel like I am like working, and it's all just like a passion project for me.
Well, right. I think a lot of people I talk to and who come to the program enjoy recruiting. They're people persons. They enjoy helping others. They don't necessarily enjoy the idea of doing cold calls or cold reach outs and trying to drum up business and put on the sales hat, right? I think you mentioned as well earlier that you never saw yourself as a salesperson. So how, yeah. So when for people who are listening to this right now or watching this, and they're also not really a salesperson or don't see themselves that way, how did you kind of bridge that gap and make that transition?
Definitely. So, and that was the scariest thing about all of this. Like, and that's why I put it off for so many years of doing this. I couldn't see myself as getting on these sales calls and like what to say. But so what I did was, going over the trainings definitely helped me so much, because before doing this, I had no idea, what I was going to say on the trainings, and I didn't feel like I was confident enough to do that. But going through the script that is in there has been so helpful. And I'll
Yeah.
modify it like a little bit, here and there,
Yeah.
for each call. But it has helped me structure my calls so much, and really helps me like lead the calls and know what to say. So that's been just super helpful. And I'll admit, like the first couple, I probably like made, some mistakes, and I continue will to do that. But just practicing it makes perfect. So I've had it probably about like 15 sales calls, and I'm getting more comfortable with it every day. And now I think like I used to think that was the hardest part of doing all of this, the sales calls. But honestly, now I feel like it's kind of like the easiest. And now it's when I do get a job, I'm like, oh my gosh, I have to go find the candidates. So
Yeah, and you've been doing it for 10 years. So that's like, even though it's always hard to find good people, but you know how to do that. And that's awesome that you just followed the script. And did the script or process when you first were going through it, hopefully it didn't feel salesy or pushy or anything weird like that. Hopefully it was just, no, I kind of wrote the script in mind of trying to offer value to the clients and really understand their hiring needs, right?
Yeah, not pushy at all. Like it comes super natural and it's like a softer approach, I feel
Hmm.
like. So it's and that's definitely my style since I'm more of an
Yeah.
introvert, I'd say. So
Hmm.
yeah, no, I love it so much.
Yay. Well, I'm really glad to hear that. And I think also you mentioned that you kind of took the scripts out of the box from the program for your LinkedIn messaging too, right? Like, did you change that around or did you kind of take it from the templates?
I honestly took it directly from the templates,
Uh-huh.
like word for word. All of I think there were like 5 steps, five
Hmm.
different follow-ups. I took all of it from the training and it's worked like a charm and it doesn't seem too scripted. Like people actually think that I am, sending it in real time. So it's been helpful.
I know you almost feel like you almost look like you feel bad, but no, well, you know what it is like well, those messages I put into the program, even the sales scripts and all the templates were actually exactly what I did in my recruiting agency, right, for so many years. So I used to send those by hand, but I would send them by hand every single time. Then I thought, I'll be really smart and I'll just copy and paste, and they just kind of tweak it every time. But that was still manual until I really, developed the LinkedIn automation process, and now I know you'll soon be leveraging email automation to kind of add more fuel to the fire. And that's kind of like the next level from here, right? So maybe you can about how about just your journey from like, I know you've been thinking about this for a while, and was there like a moment or a day where you decided, you know what, I'm just gonna go out and do it. Was there a day where you drew the line in the sand and said, today's the day where I become an entrepreneur?
Definitely. So, and I had been thinking about it for at least a year beforehand.
Hmm.
So, I had been in a corporate recruiting job that worked on a high volume amount of roles. I had like 80 requisitions at one time, and I was at a very large company that was, I just kind of felt like a little bit of a number.
Hmm.
And, going to my manager who is, really great, but they didn't have a lot of say in like monitoring our workload. So I knew nothing was going to change, and I was just so like overwhelmed by all of the requisitions, and I felt like I didn't have a lot of time with my twins that I have, and so it
Yeah.
kind of was all happening when they were about, I guess, around like 2 years old, and terrible twos, you got to have, a lot of energy and time for them. So
Yes.
it was just a breaking point. I think I like tried to leave that company a few times, but they talked me into staying. And my husband, he was really my main support, who he saw me just like struggling, trying to keep up with all these roles and trying to be a very involved mother. So he was like, Katie, you've got to just go and do this. So he was really able to help and push me. And I'm so glad that he did.
Oh, that's great. I can't imagine 80 recs. That's the most I've ever heard one person do. That's like inhuman, right? Like you maybe if you had like 16-hour days and you work 16 hours, but that doesn't even seem feasible. I can't even wrap my head around that many recs because I think like we tell people a good sweet spot once you have your own recruiting business is maybe a dozen or so, like a dozen hot job orders, and you're closing those, every month consistently or a good number of them. Like that's a good business, right? And I mean, and you're already doing. I mean, I guess on average one placement per month, right? You did two placements over the no, you did two placements over the last 30 days. So you're on average two placements a month. So at this point, if you maintain two deals a month ongoing, that's and you can do that 20 hours a week, then that's probably not, you don't have to go crazy and have a whole full blown agency and manage people. You don't necessarily have to go that route. I think a lot of people would be happy doing 30K a month while working 20 hours a week, right? Being with their family.
Definitely. That's like a dream to me, honestly.
It sounds like a dream, right? Because I feel, and I love like these type of, interviews. And I'm so glad that you kind of, jumped on this call because when we talk to people, or when I talk to people about, oh yeah, you can, spend time with your family, have time flexibility and freedom, and handpick your clients and choose to only work with the clients that you want, and keep 100% of the fee and make 30K a month, or what's that, $360,000 a year working part time. Like no one really believes it, right? It sounds too good. It sounds like an infomercial, right? Even just me hearing myself say that, I'm like, this sounds like an infomercial. But
Yeah.
right? But you're doing it, so you're the infomercial lady,
Oh, thank you. Yes.
right? Yeah.
Well,
So how does
amazing.
it feel now that you're on the other side of like when you look back 3 years ago and how much you are struggling to where you are now? Like, is it hard to picture this, or is it seem surreal, or do you kind of like, yeah, own up to it now and like you feel in this new role strongly?
Yeah, definitely. Like I would never have believed it, looking back. And I wish that I had started this so much sooner, at least a couple years ago. But I do feel like, what I have been through over the last year with that other company or last couple years has led me to this spot now, and I'm like more than ready. And I feel like I've just gained so much confidence in like doing this recruiting business over the last few months. So
Yes.
it seems, yeah, just amazing. I'm so thankful for the
Yay.
training.
Well, no, I'm thankful, and like this is why I put it together. Like when I first started my agency, I struggled, and I had imposter syndrome, lots of fear, especially when like having the idea of being on a sales call with a VP level hiring manager, something like, ugh, like why would they choose little old me when they could choose a big staffing agencies of the world? But I figured out through trial and error, and so I was like, if I could have someone like me on my day one of launching, it would have been a much easier, enjoyable ride. So I'm glad that you were able to kind of just take the roadmap, and I'm really proud that you actually just follow the process, right? A lot of people, especially people like you with lots of recruiting experience, 10 plus years, they tend to come in like with their version in mind that they want to do. So they'll play a lot of jazz and they'll tweak everything, and they'll say, hey, John, I'm not getting that many responses from my LinkedIn automation, and I'm like, well, okay, well let me see what you're sending, and they're sending just all sorts of. I'm like, this is not in the program at all. You're playing a lot of jazz here, but I think it's great that you were, I think, humble enough to just be like, you know what, I'm just going to follow it out of the box, and then as it works, I'll make little adjustments, but not really mess with the recipe. And so because I try to do everything as a proven roadmap, have it all dialed in, have all the recipes in place. You just kind of follow the recipe, right, and it works. But yeah, you did that.
Definitely, yes. I wouldn't have changed it any other way. It's a proven process. It works. So yeah, for
Yeah, well,
sure.
and your niche is really cool too because you're in property management, right?
Yeah, it's property management. I'm nationwide, and I like pretty much anything within, property management. So accountants for real estate too. I focus on a lot, and marketing as well, but mainly property managers.
Got it. Okay. Well, if people want to find you, if a hiring manager, hiring director in the property management world is listening to this or watching this, how can they get a hold of you?
Yeah, so they can email me at Katie, so it's Katie at perrylynnconsulting.com, or they can go to perrylynnconsulting.com on my website, and there's my phone number on there and email. You can always email me through there as well.
Awesome. Well, thanks so much for coming here. Thanks for sharing your story, for going through the hard parts of, leaving the corporate America, leaving that painful, albeit kind of like comfortable, like nest, and branching on your own and doing it, and now having, like you said, having it all, have the business, you have the income, and you have time with your family. So, congratulations on doing that. I mean, you did all the work, so I couldn't be more happy.
Oh, thank you so much. And thank you for creating this program. Honestly, I don't think I would have been able to keep my business going without it.
Oh well, we're just getting started, right? Like
Yes.
we have a lot more to do from here. So I'm looking forward to working with you and helping you kind of expand and grow.
Yes. Okay. Sounds great. I'm ready.
Thanks. Awesome. All right, we'll talk soon. Thanks,
Okay. Talk
Katie.
soon. Thanks,
Thank you. Bye
John.
bye now.
Bye.